Okay, everybody, how you doing out there? You know, I gotta admit something. I am one of the worst videographers in the world. When it comes to making videos, I am bad. I'm bad. I'm still learning. There's plenty of room for growth for me. But, I got this bike in and I thought, what the hell, I'm going to go ahead and try to post up a video. And I didn't even think about it until I got the intake off. And I did a couple other things. But this particular motor right here is a Jim's 131. It was a 120 and it's T-Man. A lot of work was done by T-Man Performance. And I'm not plugging them or anything. That's just the people that did the work. And the guy that rides it, he's a real, he likes to go fast. So, and he beats this motor pretty hard, you know. And considering the motor has been run so hard, it's still fairly together, you know, except for the busted piston on the front cylinder that I'm getting ready to take apart and check out. This has happened before to this motor. He's done it twice. This is the second time. And what happens is, you know, you've got your pistons, then you got your piston rings, and you got the lands or the grooves that the piston sets on, that the rings go into on the piston. And the top groove or land is too close to the top of the piston because of the size of the motor and the amount of cubic inches they're trying to get out of this motor. You know, 131. The land is too close to the top of the piston, and what it's doing is it's breaking off the top of the piston right at the land, right at the top of the land where the piston is in the groove. As the piston's going up and down, for some reason, it's breaking the edge of the piston off right at the land. So this is, like I said, it's happened a couple of times, and I'm going to get into this thing. I'm going to try to pull it apart and kind of document a little bit of what's going on with this motor. But other than that, this is an awesome motor. I mean, I should have shown it to you before I started working on it because, you know, it's got a unique custom pipe. You'll see it at the end when I'm done. This video is going to take a while to produce, so, you know, because I'm going to stop and start, and then I'm going to have to get some video editing software. Because I don't know how to, you know, I mean, look, I can't use that stuff on YouTube. I tried. I can't splice one clip into another clip. I'm having troubles with all of that stuff. And I don't think it does it, to be honest with you. I think you can just take a video and, you know, you can cut a little parts out, but you can't add parts in and, you know, and edit it truly. So I'm going to buy some video editing software, see if I can get something done with that. Anyway, this has got one of those oil coolers. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. This guy's done a lot to this bike. But you can see here, let me get the camera so you can get a better look. Okay. So, you can see here that this is part of the Bud oil cooler system here. You know, that's a thermostat that turns it on when it's, you know, when it starts to get too warm. And then the cooler, it's pretty ingenious actually. He's also got the BBC motor mounts for the front. You know, he's got those specialized motor mounts for 06 up motors. But anyway, and then that, if you're wondering where this came from, this cover, that's Jim's makes that cover. So you can get that cover either in chrome or in polished or in black like this. So, but anyway, right here, I know I'm having a hard time showing you this, I'm sorry. Right here, and then, where's the other one at? Right here. This one here, it's an aircraft radiator style that they use on aircraft. There's one here. And then, and then there's one right here. So these two oil coolers are connected through this line right here. And then it goes up to the oil cooler. And that's how the engine oil gets cooled on this motor. It's pretty nice. You know, then he's got the progressive shocks on this, which are really nice shocks. They're about $900 a set. Me personally, I believe they're a little overpriced. You can find comparable shocks elsewhere. So, you know, just to let you know. But like I said, this is a Jim's 131. It was a 120 when he first bought it, and he punched it out. Take a look at this throttle body. Look at that fucking thing. That's that elliptical, the elliptical throttle hog, they call it, or whatever. Look at the size of that thing. Jesus, it's huge. But anyway, yeah, that's where the air comes from. I just dropped something on the ground. I don't know what it was. Some kind of a keyway. Okay, so yeah, so that's it. There's some more of that oil cooler system back in here, you can see. But anyway, I'm going to get into this motor. I got to pull that front cylinder off, and I will put it in high speed and take it apart, and then we'll go from there. And I'll let you follow along. Alrighty then. Here we go. Maybe this will work. I don't know. We'll try it. We'll give it a try. If this doesn't work, then we're going to have to get a regular wrench and pop this thing off. I took it off. All right. Yeah, he usually, this friend of mine that has this bike, he usually works on it himself, but he had, oh, there's no washer on that one, but he had some issues with his wife. I don't want to go into detail on it, but he had some issues with his wife, and what happened was his wife started taking it out on his motorcycle, so she broke the tail light out on the back, and then she smashed the speedometer, and yeah, and did some other damage to the dash. I mean, she was smart enough not to, because he said he would have really got mad if she would have damaged his paint or his, and she kind of knew better not to do that, so she didn't. All right, 7/16. If I can find one in here. You know, sometimes it's really nice to have lots and lots of tools. You know, sockets and different things like that, but when it comes time to get them out of the box, if you don't have them in trays or something, then you know, it's really hard to do, and I have found that trays are a little bit too tedious, you know, but I guess it's one way or the other, right? You're either gonna spend the time putting them back right, or you're gonna spend the time no, that ain't gonna work. You're either gonna spend the time taking them out right. Okay. You're gonna either either spend the time, Jesus Christ, if I could get this out of my mouth, it'd be nice, wouldn't it? You're either going to spend the time putting them back the right way or spend the time searching for them when you need them. So I guess it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other, right? Now, what I'm doing right now is I'm preparing to remove the front rocker box. And if you've noticed, I have not removed the push rods. They're still in. So because of that, this thing's got to come apart a certain way because there's pressure on the rocker shafts. So you've got to take this thing apart a certain way, and the way to do that is, let me see something, hang on a minute, that's too small. The way to do that is you have to relieve the pressure by removing the bolts on the top in a certain sequence. So I will try to show you that if I can ever find the correct nut. So the idea is to release the pressure on the breather assembly first. Make sure that the breather bolts are coming apart. You're going to come out first. Everything but the main rockers needs to come out first. The 4 rocker bolts need to be the last thing, which is these here. There's 2 here, there's 2 on the other side. Maybe I'm too far away for you guys. I'm not sure. Let me move you over. See if I can get you in a little bit closer. I don't know if that's going to work or not, but I'm going to try. It's still not much better, is it? Now what I need to do is get you above. There's no way to do that, I'm sorry. But for right now, I'm going to keep you right there. Yeah, you'll be able to see as good as you can. I'll bring you over from time to time, you can take a look. But right now I'm taking out the breather assembly. And all Harleys 06 up, and even 99 to all the twin cams are pretty much the same in terms of the way that the breather assemblies work, and all the bolts hold the rocker box cover on. You know, they're all the same. They all work basically the same way. So you won't find anything too different inside the top of the motors, unless it's some kind of a specialized, motor, top end, made by somebody, like they make aftermarket top end heads that are a little bit different, but most of them are all the same because all the bolt holes are the same in the heads, So, I mean, it wouldn't be very smart for someone to try to change them. I'm going to speed some of this up, so you might hear me just talking like a mouse on some of this. But let's hope I can get this video posted and correct, Let's see what happens. Get this apart real quick. I'm really going to have to get, if I plan on doing this for any length of time, I'm really going to have to invest a little bit of money in some better equipment. I've got a cheap little, well, it's not a cheap camera, it's a good camera, but it's just really not designed for videoing stuff. It's not like this, it's not even, I think a GoPro would be better in terms of doing videos, And I bought a couple. You know, I did a review on one a while back. And, you know, I got it for like a super cheap price. And I'm telling you, man, you get what you pay for. Because it was not a very good camera. I tried to make a video with it, and the voice came out of sync with the... Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, we're going to have a problem right there. You know, the voice would come out of sync with... Let's see if I can find something that will work on this. I don't know. I might have to do something different. Let's see if this will go in there. See, that's not going to go in. So, nature of the beast, man. Always a problem. Let's see here. Probably cut a lot of this out, so you won't be able to know what I'm doing. What did I do with that? What did I do with? Oh, there it is. Let's see if I can use this. Try everything at least once, right? So it doesn't really matter which way you take the bolts out if you don't have any pressure from the push rods on the motor. And sometimes you don't have a choice, because what will happen is sometimes, let me get you back to normal here. Sometimes what will happen is you're going to have to leave the push rods in because they're solids and you won't be able to get them out. So this is the way that you would do it if you had solid push rods also, incidentally. But as you can see, I've got all the bolts out, all the small ones out around the sides. The only thing holding the head down now are these 4 bolts right here. So those are the next 4 that I'm going to take out half a turn at a time. Nice and slow, so we don't get any tweaking going on when it comes to the... let me see if I can get in a little bit closer for you. I wonder if I can do this. Let's see. Some of this I'm just going to cut it out. I can't do that, you know. So if I had that one there, and I could go up with this one here a little bit further, right? Like that. And then go with this one like this. Right? Then I could turn this down like this. Now I got you where you can see what the hell's going on. Let's see, I'll get you in a little bit closer. Bring you down a little bit. There we go. Over a little bit. There we go.